Thank you.
So welcome to week 11th. This is Friday, and we're gonna talk, how to create and how to think about concept art in concept design in a different way, which is almost nowadays everything has become like a lot about how to go into the computer, how to go into your office, how to understand software, how to understand all those things. But what really matters is to actually, like we can say this is uh, like in France when they were, going out from the studio and going back to nature to find what's the reality, really about. So that's when, the impressionists, came and thought like it's not enough, to understand light and to understand how the natural world behaves within the studio. We got to go out. We got to, feel the trees, feel the air, feel the sun under, how we feel the sun, how it feels the temperature, how it feels for real. So it's the same with concept design, right? We can go into the studio. Even now we have more tools than ever, right? When we go, um, to Google or anything, we can go and find anything we want. But there's nothing better than actually having the real thing. I mean, if you can experience it, it's the best way, to achieve, I believe the best results. Okay, so think about that. So as an example, in today's lesson, we're gonna think about, and we're gonna talk about the I have the this cherry tree in my garden, and I just took like one leaf of it, and I'm gonna start to make some concept design based upon what I'm having at this point in my hand. So let me place the pictures that I just took. Like, they're not any fancy thing. The point is, for you to be able to see what are they about. So I'm downloading them from the WhatsApp chat. So you have, the reference that I'm gonna be working with. But now I'm gonna go with the real thing. I'm not gonna go with, with a photograph, but I have the leaf right here in my hand. That's gonna make a big difference, because I feel that you can feel the texture, the actual temperature, how it smells. Those little things that you cannot have just in a dead reference, which would be a photograph. So I highly, recommend you to have, the experience to go and have the whole thing, the real thing. So we're gonna make some leaves here from reality. So, for your thing, it's really important that you have, that for your homework, it's really important that you have this understanding, how to go beyond what people is doing nowadays. And it's probably it's about, going into into a more real approach to it. So if you see, like, every movie, even animated movies, are becoming so real like. So if you see, like, probably the last one I saw, which is the sea monster, it's on Netflix. you could see like a lot of the shots, they seem, to be recorded like with the camera. They're so real in a lot of scenes that it is impressive. It is impressive how they have, reached that level. And that's where we're heading to, right? We want to feel and experience reality every day better and better, like in a deeper sense, probably. So I'm going to take, the leaf and think about, the wholeness of that leaf, right? So I'm thinking it probably is a bit warmer. And I'm taking, I'm having the leaf right at my side, by my side. So there we go. We have, it's really important that you start with really, blocking the things as big as you can. Like the first thing you do is to make like a big blocking of the shapes. Not so much, about the details, about the little things. No, it's more about the whole feel. And I feel like these little corners are so, beautiful. They have like those little bumps. The whole thing has the same thing. So I'm exaggerating that a little bit. And it's great that you start, to squint, right? The point about all of this is that the whole team can go with, probably, this and start, to really understand what is it about. So the branch starts like becoming really warmer. It's a bit darker. And probably it's a bit colder right there. And also color lives in the middle, so we're not going into, the corners of our palette. So basically, this is the thing I'm seeing in terms of those two basic tones, right? You can, do the exercise and do the same with the references. So later on, you can go and see the, yeah, your own. You can go with your own. And I start to see like this is like a really, really shiny kind of material. So I'm going with shine here. Probably, and I see this going right up here. So I'm going with those layers. And I'm squinting all the time so I can, probably perceive what's the most important thing about it. And I do see this like really, really important thing. Really important shining through the leaf like this. So you see, it's about taking care of those planes. So for the whole team becomes super clear. What is it about? So there's like a little thing that shines, if I think like a plane that it's going right to the light source, probably it's here. So right here, it's going right to the. So think about this like in terms of how to simplify it in terms of planes. And now we're going, to the other side, which is this is the average, this is the light, and now we're going for the darkest darks within it. So probably these are a bit warmer, just a tiny bit warmer, and just a tiny bit darker. You see, it's the movement within the palette. It's really tiny because the planes are not changing too much. So it's like how you understand those planes, you know, and the overall feel of that three-dimensionality. So you see, it's the same thing we were mentioning about everything, right? You can go and think about this with a portrait. You can think about the same thing with anything. It's the same process. So you can go with lines, probably if you want to define first, you know, those planes more into like a subtle way. And to be more, you know, organized probably at the beginning. That could be helpful. And the changes in between those, between this and this, are super tiny. You see the movement in my palette, it's really, really tiny. So it's boom, 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 boom. I just want to make a bridge in between. So I'm going to place it right here. You see, like that would be the middle. And that looks like the middle. You see, it creates the bridge. But I gotta go, you know, to the palette and see how much, you know, is the jump. So I can take the average in between those. Right, so here I have, you know, the overall feel of that of this leaf. And now I want to, you know, start, you know, um, to think about those highlights, you know, those, you know, those so it doesn't matter the complexity of what you're doing. It's always about going with this, the same approach of, you know, being really careful and like be the best observer you can. And you can do, if you can do it, you know, actually with your own garden, that would be even better. So this is probably a bit yellowish and a bit warmer, just a tiny bit. So let's, you know, take smaller brush. And we can see, you know, feel the middle part of the leaf going like this. So I'm thinking this is, you know, the average tone of that metal. When it goes down here, it goes a bit darker and a bit colder. So I'm going like that. So I'm thinking, you know, okay, but what about the highlights, right? So there's like places where the planes change a bit. So the places where those change are, you know, the ones that are more exposed, you know, to light. So probably like up here, it's way more exposed, you know, to light. So I'm exaggerating. I'm going, you know, to find those moments. I see this here that goes a bit lighter, but it goes a bit colder. So I have this, and I see like there's the branch, this part of the base of the leaf. It's really shiny. So it goes colder, the shine, the shining part, and it goes like this. So it shines a lot, even more, even colder, even lighter. And as the opposite goes, like we have like a colder and darker tone, which is the dark side, the dark part of that end. So you see, it's really in some way it is a bit simplified. We try to simplify it as much as we can, and at the same time, I mean, we're taking the planes, the main planes about it. So probably this is going like this. So you see, it's really about going with like studying the plant. So I'm studying how the brightness of it. I'm starting thinking how is how the planes are going. We start to see like there's, if I squint just a tiny bit, I can see how changing into this brush, how some of the are a bit rounder like here, but it's really subtle. So you can, take average in between those. So to soften those. And this is even lighter probably at some point, right? So you see like even how the changes in tone when I'm going to my palette are so tiny. Once I have, the overall feel of the thing, the changes within the palette are super tiny. So yeah, it's like about thinking in terms of three-dimensionality. And I started now to add some of those details in between. You can see like how those little like canals, like channels, of channels of the center are going to the sides. So they're like a really tiny thing. So they're a bit darker and super tiny. Something like that. So I don't know if you can see that in the video. Can you?
You mean the little texture lines? Yes.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So it feels, starts to feel like this is just observing, right? But the point is that you started, to do this. You can start, making sketches, right? With studying real things. So later on, you can go and transform and embed your own. So this is too dark. I think about that. That's going a bit lighter than this. A bit more. So you see, bit by bit, and it started to feel like that. So I did it. This is way too big. So probably 3. So I can go with a thinner brush. Because if I squint, I'm not even able, to see those things. They're really super tiny lines. Okay, so here we have like a really, really simplified version of that structure, of that leaf. So there's like a little defects that the leaf has. So it's got like some defects. Are going to things like this, and there's like a little hole in the middle. So probably it's a bit warmer, a bit lighter. So yeah, this is like showing you in real time, how would I solve those things? So probably this one feels like there's like a shining part here. So probably this main middle part feels more like shinier, shines through a bit more. Probably at the base, like here we have something. So you see, it's about doing this with really, to sum it up, it would be like doing this with really taking care of it, like being really super, like it's really great that you're able to do 2 things at the same time, which is going big, so you don't care about the details too much. At the same time, you can go back and go really, really, you know, um, with great subtlety into the details. So it's like I have heard, this within, a lot of, the what people admires the most within great painters, which is how they are able, to manage to be super brave in some choices, or you can see how brave they are, by making some things within their painting. And at the same time, they're really subtle. They're able, to be super, super sensitive about other things. It's being brave and at the same time being very subtle, which it's not like a super easy thing to do. No, it takes probably a lot of work. So you can see like those details on top, how they started work. And another thing that I really, really like about this is that I start to see as well, now that I'm, squinting and seeing it in detail, I see like also there's, there's the thickness, like the little thickness for the leaf. So I see like there's a little thing on the side where I can see like this plane of the side shining through. So you see, it's about being really brave with big choices at the beginning, and also being really subtle, being able to do both things. How to be brave and how to be subtle. So if I look to, if I squint, like this is really, really probably one of the highest lights within the painting. And you can see it probably even more because of, its surroundings. So I want to play underneath, go into to the actual base, which is really, really dark. So if I have this here, I can see, that otherwise it's just, I can't. So think, about color and all of this, like it's a relationship, right? It's nothing by itself. So the only way, to make it brighter, it's by looking at the darkest part. So how you doing, Etienne?
I'm doing good. I've just been watching you work on it, and I think I kind of understand.
Okay, cool. So it's about, the feel of that three-dimensionality. It's about how you, so you see, it becomes so much deeper than if I had just, even the picture. If I had just a picture, probably I wouldn't have like all this beautiful information to go beyond. I wouldn't have, yeah, I wouldn't have like all this things, to go with. So I'm squinting a bit, having a, so it's great to look for further away, right? So you can look at from here. So probably I feel like that's working pretty much. It's looking pretty similar to what I have in front of me. At least, with my ability, that's what I can. Which is also really important, to realize, right? Probably this is we can be a lot better doing this, right? But this is what we can for now, and appreciate it. I mean, appreciate it. Like, okay, this is what I can do right now, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna do my best with what I can for now on. I mean, don't punish yourself if you can't do something in the way you would like to. Well, this is, this is what you can, and just embrace it. So yeah, you can go and think, okay, how can I do this better? How can I do this better? But don't, doom yourself, because you're not doing this in the way it's supposed to, or something like that, right? So I'm taking the whole thing. I'm taking the thinking about the overall feel of it. So I'm going with a bigger brush. And you see, just a leaf by itself can be such a great challenge. It's just a leaf, right? But if you take it like really, really in depth, it could be like the greatest challenge ever. So yeah, probably something like this. So yeah, probably like that. You can go as realistic or as, caricaturized as you want. The point about this, is to make, an understanding, for the concept design is like making a blueprint. So this is like, what matters to me the most is that, I'm making, the for the whole team, I'm making it clear so they can know, okay, this is the way they wanted, they want this, to be modeled. So you see, it's always about a plane against another plane, always. So let's say we have, this first approach. You see how the whole, little thing that we see on the side, it's easier, to look because we have that background. Otherwise, it would be like we don't understand what is it about. separating these planes so it looks more structured here. We come back to the planes and find, start to find like all those little things that are going on here. Just, if you want to do this like by hand, you can also, place a texture on top of it. So the next thing you can do, like we have, let's say we have the study on one side. Okay, so we have one study of this leaf right here. But now we want to start to make, for the whole team, we want to make a clearer statement of these ideas. So probably we want to go into line work. I mean, it's up to you almost how you want to find, and it's also like, what do you want, for the team to realize about subject matter. So let's say I'm having, this, I see the metal, structure here. I'm, looking at the other side of the leaf. So probably if you see the reference, you might see some of the information I'm applying here. So it goes from big and it goes thinner and thinner throughout the whole leaf. Start to see, okay, what are those patterns? So probably see like this, and starting now to think about planes. Think how those are going, to the sides. And the more I can define, the better, it'll be, for the team. So you see, it's even though it's like the simplest thing, which is, a leaf, I'm taking it really, really into detail and into account all those changes in planes, all those changes within things. So it was the thing I was mentioning to you at the beginning, when we were, when I was seeing your, the petals and everything about the flowers. So it's how you define those things, so how those you can even, like let's say we have one pattern for the side. So you can take 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you can copy it like and so you don't have to do the whole thing like all the time. You see? So we create a pattern line. You can do that with brushes as well. I mean, for now on, we're just, going to leave it from layers. So you can think of a pattern right here. because probably I don't want to, to take like the whole thing. You can copy this idea for anything, right? You can do this for textures or for anything. So you don't have to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over again, right? So I'm taking, this and copying this, and I'm taking it into, let's say, the sign of that leaf. I can go here and, transform it, deform its shape. So I have, that pattern within, what I need, what I need it to be. So you see, this is really, really a really cool exercise you can apply. So your designs are richer, in terms of like that texture and that feel. This is, an example. So yeah, probably you can go with that with so you see, we copied the whole feel of that pattern within the whole leaf. We don't have to draw the whole thing. So yeah, I'm just, giving you tools, giving you examples on how to approach these things. As much as you can sketch, the better, right? Because when you sketch a lot, you start, to feel those patterns, to have a deeper understanding of how to communicate through drawing your ideas. So this is really related, to, in this case, to scientific illustration. I don't know if you have seen scientific illustration, which is, I used to do that, like at the illustration school, which is take as much detail as you can, for scientists, so they can understand what is it this leaf about. So yeah, I hear this is yeah, basic kind of thing where you have the understanding of the three-dimensionality of that tree, of that leaf. So you see, you can, once you have this, you start, to another view for the leaf. And you can, compare it, how would be according, to hand, or, probably you can add, a more specific arrangement. So you can I'm going to send you a picture with, with centimeters. So you have the exact scale for it. So let me, I'm going to send you this as an example. So you have a ruler, it's a really simple ruler, and just, so probably yeah, the light is not the best, but you can see the overall feel. The overall scale, sorry. So you can say how those actually, when they're in the tree, when they're in the tree, how they stand, how you see them in the actual tree. So how would you describe them in the tree? Like a 3/4 vision for those. Basically, it's the more information you can add to it, the better, it'll be for your for the team. So they round, they're not flat. This. Yeah, it's about observing as much as you can to take as much information relevant to the subject. The point about this is that later on you can be creative, right? You can start to think, well, what if I change some of its features? What if I change the color? What if I changed some of the scales, right? That is based upon that reality. So now that I have, this 3/4 vision, leaf. It's a lot about, studying things. The more you study, it's like yeah, an approach to your final design. So later on, you can, take this designs and turn them into something new, right? So you can take this and probably, what if I place, well, let's say we have this leaf. What if we want to change it and turn it, something for your flowers or something different by changing its proportion? So what if I turn this into a more, into thinner line, thinner kind of leaf. So you see, we change the proportion of it. We can change as well, you know, the color, the proportion, the like everything about it. So we can, what if, you know, they're, you know, the, what if they're blue, or I don't know. What if, yeah, they're bluish, kind of, you know, have that feel of, you know, a bluish flower, a bluish leaf. You can add to it like really, really cool things on top. So you can go to textures, let's say online, and let's, you know, find, or you can invent your textures, right? So let's say, yeah, instead of going through, you know, online stuff, what if we take this, but we want to change the, you know, some of its features, like the texture of it. So I want to add like a really cool texture on top. So later on we can see it with brushes, but for now on we're gonna do this with, you know, with the layer itself, or with, yeah, with a layer on top. So what if we wanna change this and create like a cool texture on top of it? So I wanna think about it like it's gonna go with little spots with different, you know, like, so I have, you know, let's say, you know, the front view for those spots, it's gonna be like this. So I think this one and this one that goes, you know, into the other side. You know, here I'm just, you know, giving you more tools on how to approach this thing. So I'm adding, you know, a texture off of that leaf, which I believe it's gonna be pretty cool. This is tinier. And tinier. I can, you know, break the symmetry of the whole thing just by adding some things in between. So it doesn't look like the same thing repeating itself, like completely the same. So I want to change it into something else. So you see, we're adding like a texture, like a second layer of thought on top of it. And right here, I mean, let's say we have, you know, this texture, and I want to place it on top of that leaf. So I'm gonna, you know, copy this layer and place it on top of that. So we can go as detailed as we want, or more or less. You know, go with deform the shape so I can, you know, place it right on top of the same thing. So it goes the same shape. And probably I'm gonna turn off the opacity a bit and change the tone so it looks more throughout the leaf. You can place it and change the hue. So what if we make it, we can change it, you see, like in any case we want. Probably, let's say like here. And we can change, the type of layer. So you can start, to experiment with this. So what if I multiply, you see how it goes from a dark place, from a darker. You can try different ways of playing the color, the type of. You see, like all those things you have. So you can experiment with all of this to find the one you like the most. I really like, this. This one. Let's go for this one. I'm gonna place it here. And once I have this, I want to take care of some of the placing of this. So you see, the light is affecting from this part of, from this side. So some parts are going to be a bit darker. Not everything is going to be, it's under those planes. So some of those parts are going to be darker. You see, even though it's replacing, that on top, it's gotta go like respecting that three-dimensionality of the. And probably there's, what if it's it's a bit shinier, in the light parts. So this part, it's going to be even lighter. So probably here it's even lighter. So you see how we start, to add like more depth and more design on top of something real. So this is like the real thing, and you can add any texture you would like on top of it. Now, yeah, this is, just to give you some ideas and tools that you might find helpful. You can send me throughout the weekend, like how you're going with your exercises, with the work. So yeah, I'll be, glad, to help you out with, some commentaries or anything. Okay.
Okay, JM. Thank you.
You can, turn the opacity up. So it probably looks more obvious. You can go down so it's more subtle. Really, I would like to, to be more subtle. You can add on top of this another layer, with more ideas. So probably this is one texture. but you want to add a second one with probably some lines or something else, right? It doesn't have to be just one. So the more passes you have, for the idea, even better. You can, change. What if instead of going with that flat thing, we change some of the designs of the flower of the leaf? So what if some of the what if this is like this? You see? Starting now to cut it out by erasing stuff. And so you can play with the silhouette. You can go into a 3D idea. So probably those things twist. So you can probably, see back here the thing at the other side. And the twisting back here. You see? And we can do the same thing on the other side, which is probably. And the same thing, right? So it goes probably twisting. So I'm going to go with dark tone, so it twists. So you see, we started with a really, like from a realistic thing, and we change it into something of our own. You can go really crazy with all of this, right? So you can probably, not just, go like this, but you can start to make some different patterns, probably a lot more patterns into it. So what if we make like little like holes in it? Like really kind of different vibe of like really different leaf. And you can, probably start with really like patterns like this, and you can go later on and start to think, okay, what if I change that hole and I start, to make it different pattern? So what if I change it and turn it into something probably more interesting? And you see, it's by copying the same principle. I mean, the sky is the limit. You can do anything, anything. You can start to think of different patterns, probably exaggerate and other things. You can also, copy the same layer, right? You can start to the second layer. You can, really, really change the hue. Probably, let's say we make it like really red, let's say, we go into the red, we can make it burn a bit more luminescent and a bit more saturated. So we have a different flower, completely different flower, but a completely different leaf, sorry. And then what you can do, place it underneath, right? And you can start it, to, I want to leave this in one. So you already have, this example. And that next, the second one, which is going to be, we're going to copy this two, and we're going to place them on the side. The point about this is to have fun, to have fun and always ask to yourself, what if, what if, what if? And that's, the main idea here. So I copied one layer right here. So you have this, we have underneath the, like that super kind of reddish, purplish kind of thing. Let's say we want also, to change the proportion. We don't have to, we don't have to, to keep the same. Sorry, this one and this one. So we take this one, this, these two layers, and we can change its proportion. So what if we make a kind of rounder leaf? You can change the proportion in any way you would like. And then we take, the layer, like the upper layer, and we start to erase. You can do this with a, with a mask, so you don't. So yeah, you're able, to go back and forth with this. So just let me know if you have any questions, okay, Tim?
Okay, Tim. Thank you.
My pleasure, Tim. So you see, I'm making, like, let's say, this little triangles, or play with the shapes, so I can start to find, like, what else could be cool, what else could be nice, to. And the creativeness and the adventure we are having was just with the leaf, So what if, the corners, or that as well. But the corners, not the sides, the sides of some dots. I don't know. You can do anything, right? And if probably you don't like, the mixture of colors, you can change them. So let's say I don't like this too much. So I can go back and think, what if I exaggerate this more? What if I go back? What if I, so this one looks really avatar-y kind of thing, right? Like this, like this light, like this makes it look like really avatar-y kind of thing. Like that luminescent kind of thing. You know, and it's really cool. Like they did like this in the movie Avatar, and suddenly everything about sci-fi became about making luminescent stuff. Before Avatar, there was no almost nothing which was luminescent, and right after they came, you know, with this really super amazing and cool idea about Avatar, everything became luminescent in sci-fi. I don't know if you paid attention and if you saw it, but it happened. And it's really funny how those things, you know, like the visionaries changed, you know, the whole industry. So everything right after, you know, James Cameron did this, everything became luminescent. And it happens, you know, with they're visionaries with everything. So the same thing happened when, you know, when Inception, the movie Inception came, you know, they made this sound, you know, for the movie, which is bang, bang. And the same thing happened with every action movie. Every action movie was suddenly making that bang, bang sound. Didn't make any sense, you know, and that's what you have to think. Why are these people doing the thing they're doing, which is the really interesting thing? So it's under, you know, the theme, the what they really want to talk about. It's not something, um, you know, that something is not something just that it's cool. You know, it has an underneath and a thought process. So it's something that we should, you know, also be thinking about. What is it, you know, those, you know, the things you're doing here, what are they about? What is the theme behind them? So let's say, you know, in your case, the thing you're doing is it's about a marriage. So probably this wouldn't be, you know, nice. They're super, like they look aggressive almost, right? So probably they would go around or anything, right? You know, and just, you know, giving you different examples and different things and how to approach this creative process. So you see, we started with this one, which was pretty based upon reality, and then we started, you know, to go really crazy with designing our own stuff. So do you have any questions, Tia?
No, I don't think I have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we can, you know, actually, you know, make some we already have some examples, you know, for the leaves, and now we can, you know, to finish the class, probably we can make an example with a flower. And I'm gonna, you know, give you this this recording. Probably, yeah, this is gonna be open. I'm gonna let it open in YouTube. So yeah, everyone, you know, you can have it and you can rewatch it as much as you can. Yeah, and it's gonna be free and open for everyone. So yeah, hopefully you can enjoy it and replay it as much as you want. probably if you find it helpful, you can, say something on the comments, or you can, write me the email or anything. Okay.
Okay, then that'd be very cool. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, this is like the example of the leaves, and we're gonna, um, keep thinking about the same, and we're gonna go for some. I want to go with the different flower, so I'm not, stepping into your exercise, but so you get inspired by this, but I'm not, actually doing the same thing on. So I'm really, really into, this, I forgot the name of this flowers, um, do you know the name of this flowers, Tim?
Sunflowers.
Yeah, sunflowers, thank you. So I really, really like them. So they remind me a lot of, the painter Vincent van Gogh, and I find them super beautiful. So we have this, and we want to make it like, let's say, like a sci-fi version, kind of the sunflower. So I'm gonna place this into a smart object, and so you see, like, how can you go beyond your exercise? You can draw, you can do anything, so you can, go uh, beyond this exercise. Okay, so I'm gonna take, this, and rethink about this actual flower into a new kind of a little illustration. Something, really yellowish kind of tone. And think about those basic tones. You see, as I started with the other one, I started with really, really big, almost really brave choices, not the details, but I started with, so I'm making, my own sunflower. And I'm going with, really almost like a posterized version. So you can simplify it into really, um, into tones, into, like, let's say 3 tones or 4. The less tones you can, define your illustration with, or your design, the better. So I want to, probably place it here. So we have this. The I'm gonna make the sky, the sky. Probably a bit lighter. You see, almost starting like with the big shapes, you know, so I can control from bigger to smaller. It is really, you know, I highly recommend, you know, this approach, because in this way you can control from bigger to smaller, which is way more important than, you know, the opposite, which would be, you know, controlling, you know, the little shapes, and you can spend like days and days just with one, you know, one leaf or petal. But if you go like this, you can control the overall thing of the image. So I'm going with my own design. You see, I'm not copying exactly the same image. So I can find probably some different different silhouettes or something that I might find interesting. Or they can change some of the leaves or, you know, some of the designs. So we have 1, 2, and 3, right? At this moment, we have just 3. We can add 2 more. So I'm going for that, you know, let's say, you know, the darkest dark, which is going to be probably the center of the sunflower. It's a bit, you know, a lot warmer. And you see where if we squint, we can see like the different, um, like how, you know, that yellow is so close to that blue, right? And how, you know, the other, you know, the green and that darkest dark are pretty close, you know, to each other. So we should control that through, you know, the tones, right? And I want to add like a middle. So we have like the leaves, like they have a light side. So a bit warmer, a bit lighter. So even probably a bit lighter. So I'm doing like those planes. So you see, we have like the almost like the overall feel of the image. If we squint or if we go back, it's almost the same thing, almost. So probably if we squint and we see like this would go a bit darker. It's great that this, you know, this first step, we're becoming more aware. We're taking care of that, those first islands, because they're gonna be the ones that are gonna hold the whole painting. So if they're not working, and if the average is not as well defined, the whole painting is going to suffer. But if we start, you know, with a really clear statement of this, it's going to work way, way better. So if I squint and if I go back, now I can see that's way, way similar, right? Probably this is more saturated, even more saturated, and a bit lighter. So you see, I'm not even taking care of the details yet, but I'm thinking about that overallness of the image. So yeah, probably that's better. Okay. And now we're going to start, to add bridges, to think in terms, not just in terms of what we always talk about, but in terms of design, right? So I want to think like, how could I change, that sunflower into something else? So I'm squinting a lot here. Probably I can, add some petals that are going to be a bit bigger. You see how we start from overall shapes and going into tinier ones. Like I did with the leaf, right? I wasn't going for the smallest shapes, but I was going for bigger ones. And I started, to add some bridges. So I really want to think like this is like it's like a brighter side. So probably at the base. So if I squint again, I see almost the same thing, like almost the same feeling. It's really important that you go and squint and feel like, how does it feel? Like, you see, it feels super, super close. But it's not about going closer, it's about going farther away. So that's something that we tend to use, like we tend to make that mistake, right? We tend to believe that the closer we go, the more realistic the feel it'll be, the more we'll have, the feeling of fit. But no, it's the opposite. The farther away you go in space, the more you start, to have that feel. So do you have any questions, Tian?
I don't think so. So like when you so I have like one sort of like this overall analysis. So like when you design something, you usually just like draw from real life, right? Basically.
What I do
Yeah.
basically, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Like when you take things from real life and then you make it like different, like yeah.
That's a great way to place it. Like it's like what we do when we're designing, actually, it's just we're making a cocktail of reality. So it's not that we're inventing something out of the blue. It's actually taking something out of reality and we're turning it into something new. But it should be, in my opinion, we should be starting from reality, because when we start from reality, uh, we cannot compete against nature. You know, nature has been, having success for millions of years, right? And if you try to compete, with, I don't know, let's say we are the wisest guy, or the wisest, the wisest person ever, and that person has been here, I don't know, in the world for 80 years. I don't know. There's no way to compare the wisdom of nature against anything else. Probably that's, that, yeah, that's the ultimate word about everything. So yeah, nature beats everything. So it's great, to take it as a reference and as a guidance, how to understand everything. Because everything, and if you think like really, philosophically about it, yeah, we might feel like we're like super successful as human beings, and probably, I don't know, social media or anything, we can think, okay, this is the ultimate word. But nature has been for a longer period of time, and probably it's gonna stay for a longer period of time than any of those things. So you might think, okay, probably one of those things could be more successful, but it's not gonna be like as no, it's not gonna be for that long. And probably it's for that long because it has, underneath, there's the reality, the truth, that those things are there because, they're great design, basically. They're great design, they're great, there's a greatness behind those things that has been tested through time. Like nothing has been tested more, than nature. And I'm not saying just, the human world, but you can, look to the universe and watch, the planets, and find those patterns which are also, among the stars. So see, it almost feels like, to me, it almost feels the same. I haven't done any detail. If we look at it like really close, you see like there's just this almost childish kind of lines, almost, no, not lines, those childish kind of planes. So the great thing about, this is that this allows you, to go from bigger to smaller. This is not, being super precise and super, great at the beginning. It's more, about solving those overall, not the overall feel of those things. So later on, yeah, you can go and make bridges, like we always say. So we can think, okay, a bridge between this one and this one. So you see the jump here, right? See in the palette, boom, 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 boom. So we gotta make something that if we want to make it work, probably I wanted, to be a bit warmer and a bit darker, just a tiny bit. You see, there we have a bridge between. Probably want it a bit lighter, like that. And the beauty of this exercise is that it also allows you, to your like kind of your mind and your brain starts to fill the blanks. So you see, like I haven't done any detail whatsoever, but my brain starts to feel like those are petals. Probably that saves me so much time, of work. I don't have to think about every petal by itself, but my brain already, starts to make those, to fill those blanks. So do we have any questions, Etienne?
No, I don't think so. I understand all of the stuff today. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Wait, Jam, so I have a question about like the assignment. So like what I need to do now is like to zoom into like the details and stuff, right?
Yeah, the point is that how to approach the final design, right? So it's like I'm giving you different tools on how to approach that final design that you're gonna be, for next week. So yeah, the point about this is that you start, um, to see like different renderings, different ways of how to render the final, your final, yeah, your final designs. So is it clear?
Yes. Because I was also planning on using the selection tool to do most of the work because I think it would be faster than to use like a regular brush. So yeah.
The lasso tool, yeah, that's a great way, to approach it. Like how I did the first leaf, right?
Yeah, like how you did the leaf, because I feel like I don't know why, but I'm like I feel like I understand how to use the lasso tool pretty
Yeah,
well.
that feels comfortable to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to you. Like it obviously, like it's great that you can experiment different approaches, different ways, but it's basically up to that, right? I'm here, in this case, like this this thing I'm doing, and I'm just taking little tinier planes. So it's the same as the main idea, right? I'm taking the same overall feel, the same overall idea, but now I'm solving little plane, like tinier planes. But it's basically the same thing. So I'm thinking probably I want to change some of the designs. So probably I can turn all of these things and probably, you know, let's see if we can, change it into something else or something new. So probably, I don't know, let's say if we start, to make some new layer. And if this is, the experiment part, which is what if I start, to make some, okay, I want to think, okay, I copied the same layer, and turn the colors like we did previously, right? And I want to change it probably to really, really like red kind of flower. I'm going to take it underneath. I'm going to place, a mask on the side. And I started now to add some, what if I, if I turn the sides, what if they're red? I'm just, guessing here. And probably some of those ideas might work, some not. Some might not work, right? I can, think about the pattern like this, and probably if I don't like the color, I can change it into something else later on. So I just thinking probably the red, I'm not liking it too much. It feels like, I don't know, I feel like it's a sunflower, but with black, which probably if the theme of what you're saying, I don't know if, what if it's something about violence and how, how, people, that innocence and that beauty might feel attacked by violence. So you see like how this probably might get into a theme like that. Probably I don't like this. So I'm changing those. I'm changing, the base as something else. So I'm changing it. And what if I turn the opacity down? What if I make it even more saturated? What if I change this? What if, what if it's the same thing but way more subtle? See, probably like that. Probably I make it lighter. You see, like the sky's the limit. You can do anything with it. You can go with patterns, specific patterns that probably you might like. Or anything. Yeah, probably, this is just an example. I'm not crazy about it. Not liking it, but it works, for the, mainly, for the example. So if you don't like it, that's why you have a mask, so you can raise the idea. That's why you're not, you don't do it like just erasing, because if you erase, like, there's no turning back. So do you have any questions, to finish our lesson, Tim?
No, I feel like I understand everything pretty well today, so I don't have any specific questions. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So to finish, this, I really like something that it's a bit, sometimes it's a lazy thing that you can do, which is you can erasing the mask. Okay. And I wanna, place a filter and take, the Gaussian blur. So I take, the Gaussian blur into certain points like this, where you see like it looks the same. The photograph and the painting looks almost the same, right? You see, like there's almost no difference in between them. And I just erase the focus point. So it makes, like this, it makes it feel like a really close up kind of feel to, yeah, to your painting. And you don't have to do like the whole thing. the whole detail, which I find, helpful sometimes. Obviously, this is not, this is, more for, illustration kind of work. If you're thinking about concept design, like actual concept design, this is not going to be helpful because the whole team, needs, the definition of everything. And, for illustration or for something like that, it works. Okay.
Okay, dear.
Okay, Diana. So have a nice weekend, and yeah, see you Monday.
Okay, dear. Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday. And if I have any questions, I'll ask you in the
Yeah,
WhatsApp.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, cool. Thank you. Bye.
bye.